Hello students, am I audible? Am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am, now you're good.
Okay. So today we are going to start with a new chapter, that is your process synchronization. I think last class already we have completed the discussion with the multi-level queue and multi-level feedback queue scheduling, and also we have solved the problems related to that. So few more problems related to CPU scheduling I will give to you through your assignment, and also solve the exercise questions. If you will face any problem, you can ask me. So now today we are going to start with process synchronization. Now what is the objective of this chapter? Mainly in this chapter we are going to discuss with the basic concepts of the process synchronization, to introduce the concept of critical section problem and uh, and how to solve the how to synchronize the critical section problem. So before applying the synchronization, how we can restructure the problem as a critical section problem, that concept we are going to discuss. Now which solutions can be used to ensure the consistency of the shared data. Then we are going to discuss with the concept of both the hardware and software based solutions of the critical section problem. Then we are going to discuss with some popular classical process synchronization problems, and we will explore several synchronization tools to solve your critical section problem. Okay, to solve your process synchronization problem. So now let's discuss what is the need of your process synchronization. Already we have discussed the processes that are present in your system. It may be either cooperating process or it may be independent process. The independent process are those processes which cannot affect or cannot be affected by other processes. Whereas your cooperating processes are those processes which can affect or be affected by other processes executing in the system. The cooperating processes can either directly share a logical address space, that is it may be your code or data, or be allowed to share data through files or messages. Okay. Now, when a number of processes are allowed to share the data, and if concurrently the processes share the same data, concurrently the processes update the same data, then what will be the problem? Obviously, there will be the case of data inconsistency. Okay. If concurrently processes will execute, if concurrently the processes will share the data, update the data, then there may be the problem of data inconsistency. Let's take a small example. Let there is a shared variable A. There are two processes, P1, P2. Let P1 update initially let the value of A is 5. Let P1 update the value of A to 6 and P2 updating the value to let 4. It is subtracting, P1 is adding 1 to the variable A and P2 is let subtracting in 1 from the variable A. So if after P1, P2 will execute, initial value of A is 5, P1 update, so now the value is 6. After P1, if P2 will execute, it will again get the same value 5. If you will check in the reverse way, initial value is A, let P2 first update, so now it is 4. After that, when P1 again update, its value is 5. But simultaneously, if both of them execute and try to update the value, so P1 is also updating it to from 5 to 6, P2 is updating it to 5 to 4. Now, which value will persist in that shared data, 6 or 4? So that is your data inconsistency. So concurrent access to shared data may result in data inconsistency. So as you know that a process can be interrupted at any point in its instruction state. During its execution, at any point it can be interrupted. And the CPU can be assigned to another process, can be assigned to the execution of instruction of another process. So to maintain the consistency among the data, there should be some mechanism available. Now, what is the objective of that mechanism? To ensure the orderly execution of the cooperating processes. So maintaining data consistency requires the mechanisms to ensure the orderly execution of the cooperating processes. So process synchronization provides those mechanisms. What's the thing? So the objective of the process synchronization is to provide various mechanisms to ensure the orderly execution of the cooperating. Now let's check with some example how the concurrent or parallel execution can contribute to issues involving the integrity of the data shared by several processes. Okay. So for that, let's consider our bounded buffer producer consumer problem. Have you remembered the bounded buffer producer consumer problem? Yes. In which chapter we have discussed this bounded buffer producer consumer problem? What happened? Have we discussed this or not? Jyotish, you are not audible. Yes, anyone else? What is the producer consumer problem? What we have discussed it? Parthasarathi, are you there? Yes, Parthasarathi. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Ah. So what is the bounded buffer problem we have discussed with? Jyotish, you answer?
When we discussed it before
What
thread,
is, in a simple term, in simple line, you tell what was the bounded buffer problem? Not the solution, not the code, nothing. What was the bounded buffer problem? Yes, Jyotish.
when I have forgotten.
Huh? Not remembered.
No, I'm not able.
Asutosh? Asutosh Mishra?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me what was the bounded buffer problem?
No, ma'am, actually forgotten.
Forgotten. Chandrakant? Chandrakant?
Ma'am, it was about multi-process synchronization.
I am not asking about synchronization. What is that bounded buffer problem? Because this is a basic thing, I am repeatedly going to use this program. So what was that bounded buffer problem? क्या था concept उसमें? What was that? Abhisekar?
Ma'am, I don't remember.
No. Nihar?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the bounded buffer problem?
Didn't remember, ma'am.
Did not remember. Nikita?
I have forgotten, ma'am.
Very good. Rajesh Kumar Padi? Bounded buffer problem. Shruti Namra?
Yes, ma'am.
क्या था bounded buffer problem?
Don't remember.
Don't remember. Very good. So as the name specified, bounded buffer, that means there is a buffer. Buffer is used for storing something. Bounded means it has some finite length. Okay. So bounded buffer producer consumer problem. There are two processes. One is the Producer process, another is the consumer process. Don't forget after this the basic concept. This problem repeatedly I am going to discuss with the different kinds of solution for this particular problem. So in the bounded buffer problem, there are two processes, producer process and the consumer process. There is a shared buffer which is going to be filled by the producer process and going to be consumed by the consumer process, emptied by the consumer process. Now, along with the shared buffer, we are taking two local pointers in and out. In specifies what is the next three position where the producer is going to whatever item will be produced by the producer going to be stored at the in position of the buffer. So, in specify the next three position, and there is a out variable which points to the first full position. So from that position, the consumer is going to consume the item. So this was the particular solution already we have discussed for the bounded buffer producer consumer problem in our chapter 3, in the process chapter, when we have discussed with the concept of cooperating and the independent process. At that time we have discussed with this particular problem. So at that time we have checked that when in plus 1 modulo buffer size equal to out, that was considered the condition that the buffer is full. Similarly, in equal to out, this condition was considered as the buffer is empty. So with the bounded buffer producer consumer problem, if the buffer is full, then the producer will wait. So that waiting is done through that while statement. After if the condition is true, there was a semicolon, that means do nothing, producer needs to wait because the buffer is full. Similarly, the consumer will wait if the buffer is empty. In equal to out, that was the condition that the buffer is empty. So in that case, there is no item to consume. So consumer simply wait. Simply there is a semicolon after the while statement. That means if the condition is true, no statement is going to execute. So it is repeatedly only going to check the condition when it will be false. Otherwise, the producer at the in position going to store the new item, and after that it is going to increment the value of in by 1. Similarly, the consumer consuming a item from the out position and incrementing the out variable. Now with that solution that we have discussed for the bounded buffer producer consumer problem, we have checked the drawback that there was maximum buffer size minus 1 number of items are stored in the buffer. It was, if the buffer size is 5, it was storing maximum 4 number of items. So now there also we have not considered the concept of synchronization. Separately, if producer, we have also checked separately producer is executing and after that consumer starting. So if separately the processes will execute, then there will be no inconsistency. Now let's again discuss another solution to this bounded buffer producer consumer problem, where first of all we will overcome that drawback that the buffer is storing buffer size minus 1 number of items. Now whatever is the buffer size, we will discuss with one solution through which the buffer will be completely filled. So just carefully check. Now here we are going to discuss with the same bounded buffer producer consumer problem, but here the buffer should be filled with all the items. Buffer will be filled. There will be previously it was buffer size minus 1 number of items are stored, but here completely it will be filled. So that can be done by using another shared variable named as counter. Okay, let's take another integer variable counter. Previously, what are the shared data? The buffer, that means the array itself, the in pointer and the out pointer. These are the three shared variable among the producer and the consumer process. Now let's take one more, that is the counter variable. Counter, which is an integer variable. Now the counter it keeps track the number of full buffers. Obviously, initially the counter value is 0. Every time the producer produces a new item stored in the buffer, the counter is going to be incremented by 1. And every time the consumer consuming an item from the buffer, the counter value is decremented by 1. Got the concept? The basic concept. Here, beside your buffer, the in and out, one more variable is used named as counter. The counter is initialized to 0. Every time a new item produced and stored in the buffer, the counter is incremented by 1. Every time the consumer consumes an item from the buffer, the counter is decremented by 1. So now just carefully check the solution to bounded buffer problem using counter. Okay, solution to bounded buffer producer consumer problem using counter. So here the changes what we have done is, previously in the previous solution, while in plus 1 modulo buffer size equal to out, this was considered as the condition that buffer is full. But here, if the counter value equal to buffer size, this was considered as the buffer is full. Similarly, when counter equal to 0, buffer is empty. Okay, these two changes has been done. Otherwise, all other code is remain same. So here also look at the code of the producer process. The producer process is executing continuously. So it was put in while true. So producer produce an item stored in a local variable named as next p. Then it will check whether the buffer is full or not using the counter variable. So if counter equal to buffer size, that means the buffer is full. As I have told you, producer process will wait, do nothing. So that's why there was a semicolon provided at the while statement. If the condition is false, that means there is some free position available in the buffer, free space available in the buffer. Then the producer process can store the item that was stored in its local variable next p to the buffer. So at which position it will be stored? In the each position. In position. So that's why that was the statement written, buffer in equal to next p. And after that, in is going to be incremented by 1. So as the buffer is implemented as a circular array, so here it was written in equal to in plus 1 modulo buffer size. And after producer storing one item in the buffer, it is going to increment the counter value by 1. So counter plus plus. Similarly, coming to the code of the consumer process. So the consumer process, it will check whether the buffer is empty or not. If it is empty, then it will wait, do nothing. So the condition to check buffer is empty through the counter variable is counter equal to 0. So if this condition is true, counter equal to 0, then there is a semicolon just after the while statement. That means the consumer do nothing. It is doing no other work, simply checking the condition when it will be false. Now, if the condition is false, counter equal to 0, that means there is some item available in the buffer. So the consumer can consume the item. Now from which position? That position is specified by the pointer out, by the position out. So that's why the next statement is next C equal to buffer out. That means from the out position of the buffer, the item is consumed by the consumer process. And after that, simply the out variable is incremented. Out will be now out plus 1 modulo buffer size. And after consuming one item, the counter value will be decremented by 1. And the consumer can consume the item local variable next step. Clear? So this is the bounded buffer solution to the producer-consumer problem using the counter. So all of you carefully check this code because this code again we are going to implement in our lab class too. So how it works with an example before discussing that. All of you first attend this quiz. Quickly submit your responses. Quickly complete your quiz.
Wait a minute, ma'am. Just a minute, ma'am. Last question is very big, ma'am. That's why it's
After
taking
1
time.
minute, your responses are not going to be recorded. So quickly submit. So let's check whether this particular solution of the bounded buffer problem overcome the drawback of the previous solution or not. Let's take a small example. Let the buffer size is 3. Let your buffer size is 3. So this is your shared buffer. It can maximum stores. It having maximum 3 positions. Three positions. Now coming to the variables, it is using a counter variable. Now there was an in and there was an out. Now the initial value of the counter in and out all are 0. Initially counter is 0, initially in is 0, initially out is 0. Just carefully check. So the buffer size is 3. Initially the counter variable is 0, in is 0 and out is 0. So these 4 are your shared data items. So combinedly these 4 create your shared object, which is going to be shared both by the producer and the consumer process. So any process can start its execution first. Let's assume first the producer start its execution. Carefully just check. Let the producer first start its execution. So let producer, first thing what the producer is doing, produce an item in next week. Let that item is your I1. So now it is check the condition while counter equal to buffer size. Counter value is now 0, size is 3. Okay, so 0 equal to 3. Condition is false. So condition is false means it is not going to execute the semicolon. The producer process will go to the next statement, that is buffer in equal to next pin. So in value is 0. Buffer in means at the 0th position it will store the new item that was previously in the local variable. Let the new item is I1. So at the 0th position now the producer store the new item that is I1. After that, what the producer will do? It will increment the value of in. In equal to in plus 1 modulo buffer size. So previously the in value was 0. 0 plus 1, that is 1. 1 modulo 3, the value is same 1. So now the in position is updated to 1. There is no changes in the out variable. What else the producer process is doing? Counter plus plus. So now the counter value incremented to 1. So the counter keeps track of how many number of items are there in the buffer. So there is one item in the buffer, so counter value is also 1. So after that, as this much code of the producer process is written inside this while loop while true, that means it is repeatedly going to do this much task. So again the producer produces the next item. Let I2 store in its local variable, that is next bit. After that, producer again check the while condition. So now what is the condition it is going to check? Whether 1 counter value is 1 equal to the buffer size 3. Again it finds that condition is false. So condition false means producer is not going to wait. It will go to the next statement, that is buffer in equal to next bit. So in value is 1. So at the position 1, it will store the next item. Let that is I2. After that, it will increment the value of into in plus 1 modulo buffer size. So 1 plus 1, 2 modulo 3, that is 2. Now the new value of in is 2. And after that, it will increment the counter value. So now the counter value is 1 plus 1, 2. So there are 2 items in the buffer that was specified through the value of the counter variable. Now again producer produce another item, let I3. Again the producer check in the while statement. So now the counter value of is 2. So 2 equal to 3. Again the condition is false. So as the condition is false, so it is not going to wait. It is not going to execute this semicolon. So it will come out of this while loop and go to the next statement, that is buffer in equal to next thing. So in value is now 2. So that means at the position 2, it will store the third item, that is I3. And after that, it will increment the value of in. So now previously in value was 2. So in equal to now in plus 1, 2 plus 1, 3. 3 modulo buffer size, that is 3. So 3 modulo 3, it will be now 0. The new value of in is now 0. Okay. And what is the counter value now? Counter value will be now counter plus plus. So 2 plus 1, that is 3. Just check. So here after storing 3 items, in value again points to 0 because the buffer is implemented as a circular array. Here the counter value is 3. So that means 3 items are there present in the buffer. So after this, once again when the producer will produce the next item, let the next item produced is I4. Let the next item produced is I4. Again when the producer will check this while condition, so it will check now the current value of counter is 3. It is compared with the buffer size, that is 3. So when it will compare, the condition is true. So condition is true means it is going to execute this semicolon. That means it is doing nothing. It will wait because there is no more 3 position available in the buffer. So in that case, the producer simply going to doing nothing, only executing this semicolon, again go to check the condition. So repeatedly it will check this condition. It will loop here in this while statement. Repeatedly busy in checking the condition when the condition will be false. So while the producer is doing this much things, let the consumer till not has started its execution. Okay. Now let at this point the consumer starts. Okay. Let at this point the consumer starts. So just check before I am explaining about the consumer process how it works. Just check the buffer size is 3 and exactly 3 number of items are also filled in the buffer. But in the previous solution, what I have told you, the whatever is the buffer size, it was storing maximum buffer size minus 1 number of items. That means if the buffer size is 3, in the previous solution, in the previous code, it was storing maximum 2 items. So that drawback of the previous solution we have overcome here by using the counter variable. Got the thing? Got the thing? So here we have checked that with this particular solution, means here exactly 3 whatever is the buffer size, that much number of items can be stored in the buffer. Now let's here when the producer is waiting, let the consumer process start its execution. So consumer being started, it is checking this while condition, while counter equal to 0. So the counter variable value is 3. So 3 equal to 0. What it finds? The condition is false. So condition is false means it can, that means some items are available. It is not going to wait in this semicolon. Do nothing. That means consumer is not going to wait. It will go to the next statement, that is next C equal to buffer out. So what is the out value? 0. That means from the 0th position, it can consume the item, that is I1. And after consuming the item, the consumer can update the out value, out plus 1 modulo buffer size. So the new out value is now 1. And it will decrement the counter value now. So now the new counter value is 3 minus 1, that is 2. Okay. So here, after decrementing the counter value to 2, just check. Producer has not stopped its execution. Producer is waiting for the condition to be false. Now, once the consumer process, listen carefully. Here, after this statement, next C equal to buffer out, producer is not going to again start its execution or again resume its execution. Producer is waiting at this point. So after consumer executing this statement, next C equal to buffer out, after consuming Y1, producer is not going to resume its operation. After the consumer has updated the counter value, so the new counter value is now 2. At this point, the condition 3 equal to 3 that was checked previously by the producer, now this condition will be false. Now when the producer will again check the while condition, it will find 2, counter value is 2. So 2 equal to 3 condition is false for the producer process. Okay. So at that time, the item that was stored in the local variable next P, that is I4, now I4 can be stored here at the index 0 by the producer process. And simultaneously consumer process is also continue its execution. It is not that consumer has stopped. So just check. If one after the other, if first the producer process will execute, then the consumer process will execute, then there will be no problem of data inconsistency. Producer can simply fill the items to the buffer and consumer simply consume the items from the buffer. But if both the processes will execute concurrently, if both the processes will at a time will update the shared variable, let's check what will happen. So that counter variable. So in any sequence they can execute concurrently. Now let's consider that updation of that common variable counter. The counter plus plus, it can be implemented at the machine level using the registers. How? Counter plus plus, simply store the counter variable in a register 1. After that, increment the value of the register to plus 1. Then the register 1 value again stored back in the counter. But the thing, the counter plus plus actually at the machine level implemented by 3 statements. Register 1, any register 1 equal to counter, then register 1 equal to register 1 plus 1, then finally counter equal to register 1. Similarly, counter minus minus can also be implemented by 3 steps. Register 2 equal to counter, register 2 equal to register 2 minus 1, counter equal to register 2. So now, if the counter plus plus and the counter minus minus, these two statements, counter plus plus, this statement is executed by the producer process, and counter minus minus is executed by the consumer process. So the simultaneously, if the producer and consumer process try to execute that counter plus plus and counter minus minus, then in that case there are several interleaving of the instructions are possible. So here one set of execution, one possible interleaving of the instructions related to counter plus plus and counter minus minus is represented. Let's consider initially the counter value is 5. Okay. Now suppose there are so many possibilities are there. Here I have just discussed with 1. Let at time t0, the producer process execute the statement register 1 equal to counter. Okay. Initially the counter value is 5. So now what is the value to be stored in the register 1? 5. What the thing? After execution of this statement register 1 equal to counter by the producer process, 5 is stored in the register 1. Let at time t1 producer again execute register 1 equal to register 1 plus 1. So now register 1 is updated to 6. Now the instruction related to consumer process execute, that is register 2 equal to counter. So who will tell me what will be the value stored in the register 2? Yes. What will be the value stored in the register 2? Am I audible? Am I
5.
audible? So what value will be stored
5.
in register 2? 5. Because initially the counter value is 5. So now that 5 value is going to be stored once again in the register 2. Now let at time t3 again the instruction related to consumer process execute, that is register 2 equal to register 2 minus 1. So now what is the value of the register 2? 5 minus 1, that is 4. Now let after that the instruction related to producer process execute, that is counter equal to register 1. So what is the counter value here? What will be the counter value?
6.
6. And after that at time t5 let consumer execute counter equal to register 2. So now what is the counter value?
4.
4. So just listen carefully. What we have discussed, counter value will be incremented by 1 if the producer produces a new item stored in the buffer. Counter value will be decremented by 1 by the consumer process after it has consumed one item from the buffer. So initially if there are 5 items in the buffer, so that means the counter value is 5. After producer producing, it should be 6, and after consumer consuming one item, it should be again 5. The actual answer should be 5. If producer has produced one item, consumer has also consumed one item, that means whatever is the initial value of the counter, that should remain same. But here what we find? The final value is 4, not 5. Now if you will tell no, at time T4 consumer will execute and at time T5 producer will execute. So if we will interchange these two instructions, then final value of counter will be 6. That means here the final value will be either 6 or 4, not the 5. 5 is the actual one, but here either we are getting the value 6 or 4. Why it happens? Because the code is not till now synchronized. Okay. Parallelly, when the producer consumer processes are trying to update the counter value, as the code is not synchronized, so we are resulting in an inconsistent value, inconsistent result. The final outcome is not the correct one. So this condition is known as race condition. So I think all of you understand, or any doubt? Any doubt? Any doubt with this example?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So this is known as race condition. So what is the race condition? Remember, race condition is a situation where several processes access and manipulate the same data concurrently, and the outcome of the execution depends on the particular order in which the access takes place. So we have told you this is a particular order. In this particular order, the last statement is executed by the consumer. That's why the outcome is 4. If I will change the order, if the producer lastly execute counter equal to register 1, then the final value is 6. So here the outcome of the execution depends on the particular order in which the access takes place. So that is known as your race condition. Race condition is a situation where several processes access and manipulate the same data concurrently, and the outcome of the execution depends on the particular order in which the access takes place. So during execution of the concurrent processes, race condition should be avoided. So how it is possible? If we will allow only one process at a time to manipulate the shared data, then there will be no possibility of race condition. So that is the objective of your process synchronization. How to allow only one process at a time to manipulate the shared data so that there should be no race condition during execution of those concurrent processes. That objective is fulfilled by the process synchronization. Okay. So before going to the different types of synchronization tools, how the processes are synchronized, first of all, the processes are need to be restructured as a critical section problem. So next class I am going to start with from this point, the concept of the critical section problem. So now all of you respond to your roll call.
Hello, hello.
Abhijit, respond to your roll call. Abhijit Rao. Ankit Das.
Present, ma'am.
Simon Pradhan, Parthasarathy Malik,
Present, ma'am.
Tanya Jha,
Present, ma'am.
Ashutosh Mishra,
Yes, ma'am.
Nikhil Kumar, Rahul Senapati,
Yes, ma'am. Present.
Ayushman Ray,
Present, ma'am.
Chandrakant Gupta,
Present, ma'am.
Satish Raj,
Yes, ma'am.
Jatish Naik,
Present, ma'am.
Pratyush Patel,
Present, ma'am.
Anup Kumar Mukherjee, Hariom Kumar,
Yes, ma'am.
Sandeep Mishra, Trivikram Patnaik,
Present, ma'am.
Trivikram Patnaik,
Present, ma'am.
Smriti Ranjan Biswar,
Yes, ma'am.
Rajiv Dubey,
Present, ma'am.
Sikriti Modak,
Present, ma'am.
Samrit Kumar Sahu,
Present, ma'am.
Krishna Murari Sharma, Rihan Ahmad Khan,
Present.
Divya Prakash Naik, Kakan Chatterjee,
Present, ma'am.
Ashutosh Sinha,
Present, ma'am.
Debojyoti Das, Ishwar Swarup,
Present, ma'am.
Soumya Mahapatra,
Present, ma'am.
Shesak Samantray,
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Ananya Lenka,
Present, ma'am.
Shruti Namra Mahapatra,
Present, ma'am.
Khushi,
Present, ma'am.
Niharanjan Pali,
Present, ma'am.
Sibulutas,
Present, ma'am.
Nikita Rojalin Sahu,
Present, ma'am.
Krishna Samal,
Present, ma'am.
Abhisekar,
Present, ma'am.
Kate Mohammadi, Anjali Gaurav,
Present, ma'am.
Devrata Das,
Present, ma'am.
Alisa Patnaik,
Present, ma'am.
Divya Darshan,
Present, ma'am.
Aditya,
Present, ma'am.
Diksha Kumari,
Present, ma'am.
Amrit Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
Rajesh Kumar Padi, Satyanarayan Singh,
Present, ma'am.
Prajwal Kumar,
Yes, ma'am. Present.
Rupam Kumar Meher.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now you can leave the class.